Okay, question A8 is about bid maths and the correct order of operations within a calculation. So just to remind you, with any calculation, you're supposed to do the brackets first, that's the top of the list. Then you're supposed to do any squared or cube, which we call indices. Joint third on the list is divide and multiply. And just a reminder, if there's both divides and multiplies in the calculation, that's all there is, divides and multiplies, you just read it left to right. Okay, so you don't have to do the divide first. The multiply could come first, but you just because the D comes before the M, you just read it left to right. Okay, so the multiply symbol could be mentioned first, and that's absolutely fine. You just read it left to right. But what does matter is that the divide and multiply has to be done before any adds and subtracts. So brackets first, squared and cube second, divide and multiply third in either order, and add and subtract fourth again in either order. Just read it left to right. So let's have a look at this question that we've got. We've got a 2, and then we've got 3 times 4 in a bracket, which is squared, take away 1. And there is an invisible times sign in between the 2 and the bracket as well. It's that bracket times by 2. Everything in the bracket times by 2. So now we can just start doing these things in the correct order. So first thing we've got to do is brackets. That's top of the list. So I suggest you cross out the bit that you're doing, especially with a complicated looking one like this. Write your answer to the bit you're doing underneath. So I'm doing the 3 times 4 inside the bracket first, which is 12. And then drop everything else down to the line underneath. So I haven't done this 2 or the times yet. I haven't dealt with this squared. So this squared that was going with the bracket is now obviously going with the answer inside the bracket, which is 12. So that becomes 12 squared. And I haven't done this take away 1. And now we've got a new line that looks a little bit simpler. So on this new simpler line, I've got a multiply, a squared, and a subtract. So highest on my list is my squared for indices, I for indices. So I now need to do my squared first. So cross out the 12 squared. 12 squared is 144. Drop down everything I haven't done. So I haven't yet dealt with this 2 times, and I haven't yet dealt with this take away 1. So now we've got another new line. Again, it's looking simpler and simpler each time we go down to the next line. I've got a multiply and a subtract. M is higher on the list than S for subtract, so I've got to do the multiply first. 2 lots of 144 is going to be 288. Drop down the takeaway 1 because I haven't done that. And by the time you get to this point, you have only got one symbol left. And that symbol is the takeaway. When you've only got one symbol left, you just read it left to right. So 288, takeaway 1, final answer, 287. So my final answer for this question is 287.